1-0 in the set. So without further ado, here comes game number 2. So at the top left-hand corner of Crevasse, we have compLexity's TriMaster spawning as our pink Terran player. His opponent here in the top right-hand corner, having defeated Cats in his first game, is Rain Perfect. He is spawning as our green Protoss.
Yeah, guys, once again, the player who defeats the previous player gets to stay on Perfect. Defeating Cats in the first game of the Team Arena this week means that he'll be playing TriMaster here, and it is going to be on Crevasse, a very, very big map. TriMaster will be at the top left-hand corner, and Perfect will be in the right side. Now, TriMaster, I haven't seen enough games of him. I would assume he's not going to be as creative as Cats, because Cats is well known to be one of the most creative players. So I'm looking forward to seeing a standard macro game here. No early game shenanigans, none of that stuff. And on top of that, it's a big map, so I think we're going to see a big game here. And
I hope TriMaster is watching right now, as I've had the pleasure of hanging out with him on a regular basis. So,
awesome.
Hello, TriMaster. How are you doing, if you're there? And can't wait to see what you're able to bring out here in this game. Now, I have joked with TriMaster at LANs that we do love our Tier 1 units as Terran players, but he is liable to switch it up if the situation calls for it and do something off the wall if he needs to. But he is a very, very solid fundamental player. And Bear's going down now for TriMaster. The question is, how quick does he want to expand? He did throw out that scout right after the bunker was constructed, so he should have a pretty good idea of where his opponent is. Actually takes a gander at the Xel'Naga Tower, first of all, then he'll run down to the bottom left-hand corner.
Yeah, it's just a smart decision to always tag the Xel'Naga watchtowers when you're moving out. The reason being that you may see any proxies in the middle of the map, you may see any probes or drones or any other scouting unit moving across, and from that you can deduce what direction your opponent has spawned. So it's just basically dotting your I's, crossing your T's, well-executed play to always cross over those Xel'Naga towers. And since TriMaster is going for that bunker first, I would assume he's going to go straight into one barracks into CC, possibly with gas, and then he's going to claim that command center on the inside of his base. Oh no, there's no bunker. That's at a supply depot.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Did you say there was a bunker coming up?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No problem. That's fine. Tech Lab is being constructed. We'll see if he wants to follow this up with the one racks expands, or what kind it's going to be, if it's going to be a Marauder or Reaper. And we're just waiting. There it is. Reaper going to be the order of the day. In fact, he only has 2 on gas right now, and that is intentionally, once again, out that expand as fast as possible. And TriMaster going to drop down one, or move down with one more SCV to go ahead and continue this wall that's appearing at the front of his base. And the Reaper, frankly, could get some pretty good information. It will notice that Perfect has decided to go after a very early Nexus. And there we are. Probe making its way out now to do some scouting for Perfect.
Yeah, Perfect has gone with one gate into Nexus here, so he is opting to go for a very macro-based game. Not as bold and as aggressive as, say, like a 14 Nexus or a 15 Nexus. Just wants to make sure he has a couple attacking units. He will have some tech for that warp gate as well. And he's not going to be super vulnerable, but he is going to play a macro game. Now, the question is, what's TriMaster going to do? It looks like he's thrown down a command center as well, so he is going to go for a macro-based game as well, and both players taking their inside expansions, which is very, very safe on a map like Crevasse.
Yeah, and TriMaster gets in. He sees the second gateway only coming up right now, so he's got to know that unless there's some sort of crazy hidden tech that an expansion is coming up, TriMaster is able to pick off a couple of those probes, but he gets surrounded, and Perfect is able to ward that Reaper away.
That was really good probe control by Perfect. Not too often do you see a player able to prevent the Reaper from running away, because it's a pretty fast unit, man, and it's hard to surround that thing. But Perfect, really intelligent, realizing that the Reaper was coming in, just pulls some probes to the back, and it prevents it from running away. So he gets the first Reaper kill. It's a slight setback for TriMaster, and TriMaster is going to go straight into Factory after this. He's probably just gonna go with quickly into Starport and get some dropships out. We may see some drop play.
Yeah, 3-rack Factory, not too uncommon. I think that's going to be a very, very good play right here. The question is really, how quickly is he going to pursue upgrades? As TriMaster is that kind of player where I never know if he's just going to try and mass units for early aggression, or if he's going to try and time it with heavy upgrades and play a little more defensive style. He does have 3 supply depots over at the front, leaving a little opening between them right now. Don't know what that force structure is going to be. If he puts 4 there, he's actually exposing quite a few supply depots to later aggression. That could come back to haunt him if Perfect decides to open up with some Blink Stalkers. But for now, we just have 2-gate Robo, while Perfect does go ahead and saturate that natural. His economy does look pretty darn good, though.
Yeah, so he does have a pretty good economy. In fact, if we can pull up that income tab, Protoss player Perfect is ahead by about 7 harvesters right now, so he's got a sizable lead. That's all due to Chrono Boost, of course. TriMaster will be able to even that out with Mulage just a little bit. But we don't have a starport coming down yet. That's kind of interesting. He does have a reactor on that barrier, so he's pumping out Marines, Marauders. He's getting stim right now, but he hasn't utilized that 150 gas that he's got saved up. There we go. He's getting stim, and there's the starport. So he's getting that stim pack upgrade first. And no doubt we're going to be seeing some dropships coming out from this starport.
Yep, and how aggressive does he really want to be, though? There's a question. Perfect does have his first observer coming out, so he'll be well appraised of the situation. We do have Robotics Bay starting right away, so Perfect actually dropping down Double Forge as well. Now, this is a very, very good tech build, especially if he's able to play defensive and hold off a couple rounds of attacks from TriMaster. If he gets to that point, he'll have the tech in place that he can just sit the rest of the game in mass units. But he is going to be pretty vulnerable to a timing attack in the next 4 to 5 minutes because he'll have invested in Double Forge and RoboBay without those really having produced results yet. And so TriMaster will be able to get in and do some damage if he decides to be aggressive.
Well, that's really the cost of always going for mass upgrades in terms of buildings, because that costs gas, it costs time, it costs minerals as well, and during all that time you could have been producing more attacking units. However, when you're going for upgrades, you're investing for the future, you know? You're investing a couple stocks here, some savings here, and some treasuries and bonds, and you're hoping it's going to pay back in dividends in the future. And I think that's what Perfect is banking on. He's hoping this is going to be a very long game, and that's where upgrades are really going to come into play. The player who has the better upgrades will usually eke out that slight edge and advantage in the big battle.
And now's when I insert a joke about the current state of the economy. But,
I know, man. It's a double dip recession out here.
I will refrain from political, meanderings. But anyway, so here we go. TriMaster going to make his way out with a double drop, but it passes right next to the observer. So Perfect should be well aware of the situation. He's putting down 3 more gateways, so he's able to warp in a couple of units. And really, this Colossus is going to hit before those dropships make their way over. So I don't think he should have any problem taking those out.
Well, Thermal Lance is going to be a couple minutes behind. So the thing here is Perfect's going to get in with a lot of Marauders, Marines, and his upgrades are all timed here. He's got Stim, he's got Conch Shells as well, I believe. His +1 weapons is a little bit late, and that's not any fault due to him. It's just because he went for the starport first. He didn't really have the gas to get that upgrade right away. But he falls back. He doesn't decide to engage. I really feel like he had an opportunity there to do a little bit of damage, considering that Perfect didn't have the extended Thermal Lance yet, and actually TriMaster's going to try to hit the front door a little bit, and he has a handful of Marines and Marauders, but he's not going to commit now, playing very safe, but he will destroy those rocks at the very least.
Yeah, he's going to open that up. That'll make this lone sentry that's sitting here a lot less effective, as it's only going to be able to block this off once and won't be able to continually repopulate those force fields over and over again. It's going to force Perfect into a few more of those. TriMaster, though, he's just going to pick up and move away. This Stalker is going to spot this. Hopefully he drops those units down and clears that out. Yeah, there we go. TriMaster going to go ahead and take care of that. But let's see. Yep, Stalker does go down. These 2 observers are just kind of moving across the map, trying to spot any future drops. And here he comes. TriMaster making his way over to the natural.
Oh, this is going to be a pretty disastrous drop. That dropship that was leading has orange HP. It is going to... Oh, very close right there. I think Perfect could have microed to maybe do a little bit more damage to that dropship and maybe pick it off possibly, but he didn't. And TriMaster catches a very lucky break there. Could have lost a dropship potentially. And he's going to pull out now and wait and buy time to get his Vikings out. His Viking right now, his Viking count is only at 3 cats, and he really needs a little bit more if he's gonna be able to deal with those 2 Colossus.
And now that moment to put on that aggression before Perfect is able to take advantage of his tech has passed, and Perfect is in a very, very good spot. If we take a look at the unit sap, he is up in workers as well, and expanding to his 3rd. Yeah, that poor Marine gets rocked by those Colossi, and there we go. Those dropships do make it away, but went down to just 39 hit points.
That Marauder sacrificed his life for the betterment of his brothers.
Uh-oh, and it looks like TriMaster's going to make his way up, but these Stalkers, if they catch wind of this could be bad, but it looks like TriMaster going to stray far enough away from the side that those Stalkers won't be able to attack.
Yeah, but those dropships are really, really low in HP. Luckily, Perfect doesn't quite have Blink yet, so those Marines and Marauders will be able to find a nice little backside here. Kills the Stalker that was warping in, but do they have enough DPS to take out this Colossus? It looks like it was very close. He's going to get that Colossus. That's a huge blow in and of itself, and he doesn't have to do any more damage necessarily. He could pull pull out now and come out with a big victory, but he's going to go for the +1, I believe that was weapons as well, or +2 weapons, and that is huge. However, he loses all of his dropships and his Marines and Marauders.
Yeah, but he gets the Colossus, he gets 1 or 2 probe kills, and he gets the Forge, so he did do quite a bit of damage. The supplies have narrowed a little bit, and it allowed him to securely expand to his 3rd. So both players are on even bases. TriMaster did damage in equalizing the upgrades as well. Looks like he himself is on 1-1. Do we have an armory yet? Ghost Academy, I don't see an armory, so it doesn't look like Perfect has any threat of any future upgrades for the time being. Kind of interesting, though. I don't know. TriMaster could make a pretty coordinated effort here. He has the Viking count to take down these first rounds of Colossi, but I wonder where he's going to go from here.
Yeah, how many Vikings does he actually have out on the field right now? I'd love to see. He's got
8.
That's a pretty good number, man.
Yeah.
I think typically Terran players in the late game, depending on how many Colossus are out, they'll adjust their Viking count accordingly. But 8, make that 9 because there's a 9th Viking on the way. Against 2 Colossus, I think that's a pretty solid number. There's a 3rd Colossus coming out, so he may want to up his number to 10 to 12. But he is going to have a solid number of Vikings. And importantly, he's making Ghost right now. And Ghosts, man, they're so important now in today's Terran versus anything matchup.
Yes.
They're great against every race. And, well, specifically in this matchup, EMP Shockwave is going to be so important.
Yeah, it's crucial whenever you get to that Charge-Lot Archon phase when they have +2
Templars,
armor. Yeah, when they have the +2 armor, they have the Guardian Shield behind them, which, as Pain used to like to say, is like chitinous plating for your entire army, if you want to think about it that way. And it's absolutely necessary to take down those shields and that energy. So, looks like TriMaster positioning himself towards the middle of the map, maybe looking to move up and do some damage. He does finally have that armory coming up, but no medevac support. I do like the choice to throw in some Hellions, though. That's going to help against those.
So smart. He's actually investing into Hellions here, anticipating that charge lot switch. I'm sure he saw those charge lots earlier, so he knows here that Hellions are going to be a good tech switch, and we don't see Terran players do this often enough. I know that Pain User, referring to him again, he loves his Hellions in Terran versus Protoss. It's a very effective unit. When you think about it, they can roast Zealots, they can kill off sentries with ease, and they're very cheap to produce, so this is going to be a pretty big battle here. The Vikings engaging the Colossus really well, and those Zealots are just charging into Blue Flame Hellions. Their shields and their life are severely weakened, and TriMaster will have to fall back, though. I don't know if he had enough forces there to engage. That was really close.
No, he didn't even make it through the meat shield, which was those Zealots. The Hellions were immediately focused down, and so all the units that did increase damage against light units were just completely obliterated, and Perfect is in a really good spot now. He's got the tech advantage, he's got the upgrade advantage, he's already committed to a pretty good switch with the charge lots. I think he's doing wonderfully.
Well, you know, I would have loved to see TriMaster micro his Hellions a little bit. I mean, he was just fighting there with charge lots, and you know, if you think about it, if you pull the Hellions back and pull the Marauders back and pull the Vikings back as well, you can micro against that Protoss army, which a lot of it is based on melee damage, and unfortunately TriMaster didn't do that. So he is going to have to engage here now at his 3rd expansion, his 3rd base, and this is not going to bode well at all. Look at all those SCVs getting demolished by the Colossus, and wow, we have some Nexi coming up in the middle of TriMaster's expansion. That is BM, man.
And there it is, GG TriMaster.